Hey, how's it going, guys? Domino Paris 21 here, and back again with yet another deck profile for you all. So, of course, what I have to present to you guys is my well-anticipated Dauntless Dominant Dragon Reverse deck for you all. So now, some of you guys may have already seen this deck featured on my channel already in a few matches, with my good buddy David from Vanguard actually piloting the deck for me. Shoutouts to him, of course. Now, me and him have been doing a little bit of playtesting with the deck, and you know, I definitely took this to a few of my locals and found a lot of great success with it. And I kind of just want to take a little bit extra time to really fine-tune some of my card choices in the deck. But really happy with how the deck is running for me for how I built it now. So overall, in terms of Dominant, I think he's definitely a great change of pace from, I guess, what we're used to for competitive Kagero decks, that is. You know, of course, obviously, you know, I played the N when it was in its prime. I still have the deck, actually. And, of course, we all know about the very infamous Novell. And what really makes this a nice change of pace for Kagero is that it just really focuses on that main trait that Kagero has kind of been known for, which is just constant retiring on a turn-by-turn basis. Now, of course, you could say that Steel Dragons do that, but what I like with Dominant Drive, it's just kind of like an enhanced version of Goku Kagero, which is a much more old-school Kagero deck, like the original Kagero, and which I'm sure that all my veteran players watching are very familiar with. So, I really like kind of like going back to that original Kagero playstyle, and not only that, I mean, it's finally a cross break ride unit that really synergizes well with Dauntless Drive Dragon. So Dauntless Drive Dragon definitely deserves a cross break ride of this caliber, just seeing how amazing he is. So yeah, I mean, look at that pose. Arms crossed, he doesn't even care. So yeah, without further ado, let's actually get started. Alright, now to start things off, of course, we have our starter with Red Pulse Draco Kid. Now, of course, we're all pretty much aware by now that Conroe is finally restricted as a starter for all English Kagero decks now. But either or, whether Conroe was restricted or not, I will still recommend Draco Kid over him anyway, just for the main reason that Draco Kid just helps provide a much better consistency to this deck than what Conroe can. Just for the main reason is, you know, like I mentioned earlier, with how powerful the Break Ride combination of Dauntless Drive Dragon and Dominant Dragon is, it's very important to try and make sure you open that Dauntless Drive Dragon as consistently as possible game by game. Like I said, you almost rely on that combination just for how powerful it is. So Draco Kid just helps you get there. Now, while Conroe, of course, very powerful card, and I mean, really there's a reason why he got restricted, he does play a much more significant role in other Kagero decks, particularly, you know, Novell and such. So I'm pretty sure we're already fully informed about this. So yeah, now moving on. Of course, we have our Great Threes with your 4 Dauntless Dominant Dragon Reverse. It's definitely a very handful to say this name. Then, of course, your obvious 4 Dauntless Drive Dragon. So, I mean, we're already familiar. I'm sure by now we're already familiar with Dauntless Drive Dragon being a very powerful break ride for Kagero, and arguably one of the best break rides in the game. And now, of course, he has a very well-deserved cross break ride. Definitely brings a lot more synergy with Dauntless Drive Dragon, and actually helps further enhance that restanding ability that Dauntless Drive Dragon provides for your Vanguard. Now, Dominant Dragon, what he does for you is Limit Break 4, Counterblast 1, lock one of your rearguard units, and until the end of the turn, he gains the red text ability, as you see here, which states that during your drive checks, whenever you reveal a grade 1 or higher Kagero unit, you get to retire a grade 1 or lower rearguard unit on your opponent's field. So essentially, the turn you break ride your Dauntless Drive with Dominant, you essentially will be leaving your opponent boosterless, in a sense, at least with the testing I've done and the locals I've been playing in. The turn I usually break ride these two together, I usually end up winning the next following turns. Just because, like I said, sometimes it can be very overwhelming for my opponents, especially against a lot of decks I play against that really are field reliant, and they need boosters to really take on your cross ride as well. So what I really like about just Dominant Drive Dragon is that it really does bring back a new kind of breath of fresh air for Kagero, just because it kind of really dates back to a much more older traditional style of Kagero, which is, you know, just out-resourcing your opponent and just constant retiring and just constant control. While, you know, other decks like, you know, Novell and the N still had that control aspect to them, they're really more focused on just having very powerful center Vanguard and just kind of winning with that. With Dominant Drive Dragon, it kind of just focuses more on the control aspect, which is really nice, and it's like an enhanced version of Goku Kagura, which of course is, for all my veteran players out there, very old school, original OP Kagura deck, I guess you can say. So yeah, definitely like this card a lot. Very fun to play, very fun to use too. It's just really nice to leave your opponent boosterless and make it a much easier time to guard as well. So definitely a very nice card. So that's it for grade 3s. Now next up for grade 2s, you have your 4 Dominant Drive Dragon, just your typical 12k attackers. Definitely a must at 4. And then you have your 3 Bellicossi Dragon, being able to obviously unflip with the constant counterblasting that you are using in this deck is always good, and that extra pressure is always nice, just baiting out you know, senseless guards by your opponent when it's really not even worth guarding for him. Then I am running 2 Nahalims. Now before I was actually running like 4 Bellicossi, but I actually cut one of him and another card in my deck just to actually make room for 2 Nahalims, because as I discussed with other fellow Kagura players of mine, really good respected players in their areas, pretty much what we kind of decided on is, you know, it's very important to run 10k vanillas in your deck, just for the main reason is they're a very good defensive turn 2 ride, just because now, you know, a lot more clans are getting more access to 12k attackers, making 19k columns turn 2, and you know, obviously sub clans are very easy to do that. So it's very important just to be able to defend against that and really not get bullied turn 2. So it's very important for that nice alternative turn 2 ride, because really with Bellows and Nahalim, these are like your ideal turn 2 rides. So it's really definitely, I think it's very valuable to run these in your deck if you can. And then I am running 2 Berserks. So originally it was 3 Berserk Dragon, but like I said, I cut one of him and a Bellow to actually make room for Nahalims. And Berserk Dragon, I think he's fine at 2, just because a big difference that you have with this Kagura deck compared to, like, you know, Novell in the end is that you really are relying on your Counterblast to be using turn by turn just to take advantage of your Dominant Dragon. So it's very important just to reserve your Counterblast for Dominant. So you really don't want many cards in the deck to really compete with Counterblasting for him, because he's going to be your main focus. But Berserk Dragons, of course, very powerful to open with, either or, and just maybe pop interceptors and such. So your opponent has a tougher time dealing with your Dominant Dragon. Especially with that plus 3k power he does gain with his ability, which I actually forgot to mention, but I'll explain more about that at the end of the profile. So yeah, that's my grade 2 lineup. And then next up for grade 1s, of course, you have your 4 Perfect Guards. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a second playset of Marias, and I don't want to switch between them in my Novell deck with this, so I just got the Steel Dragon ones, so, you know, it's whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just 4 Perfect Guards. Then your 4 Gojos. Definitely one of the MVPs of the deck, just for the obvious reason of being able to, of course, filter through your hand and help fix bad hands early on in the game. And for the main reason too is he's a good, amazing lock target with the Dominant Drive. So obviously you can just rest him, cycle out a card you don't need, and then you can lock him. So definitely very amazing card in this deck. So definitely got to run it at 4. And then you have your 3 Valuable Drive Dragon, just your 10k attacker. Really nice that Kagura finally has access to one of these. Well, not in the form of Steel Dragons, of course, but definitely a nice nice beater to have turn 3, and just a 7k. I mean, K clones are, you know, K clones. It's very obvious why you play them. And then, kind of like my tech cards of the deck, I am running 2 Heat Nail Salamanders. So what I like about Heat Nail Salamanders, initially I kind of disregarded them, but I was actually experimenting with them a little bit after I actually talked with some other Kagura players of mine. And I really like the Heat Nail just because it gives you more ways to get more retiring on your opponent's rear guards without actually using your counterblast. But also at the same time, he's definitely very powerful around the early stage of the game just to add extra pressure to your opponent and just to kind of get some easy retirement early on. So essentially, if you can try to retire your opponent's units, make them call more down just so they can, you know, get blasted by Dominant Drive. Dominant Dragon can be very powerful. And again, it just can provide that extra pressure early on too as well, forcing out, you know, unnecessary guards from your opponent. So definitely nice, great, definitely liking this card a lot in the deck for what it brings. And then you have the 1 Calamity Tower Wyvern, just Luckbird clone. I was originally running 2, but I kind of just want to make more room for Heat Nail. So I think 1 is fine because ideally you only can use 1 per game anyway, unless you want to lose your cross ride. So I found the 1 to be perfect. And then for my triggers, Of course, you have your 7 crit. Doesn't matter what combination you use, just try to mix it up at least. So yeah, 7 crit, 5 draw in the form of 3 Gatling Claw, be able to kill starters, and 2 of your Seal Dragon draws, Margot Clone, being able to just maybe fix columns, hit some higher tier numbers if necessary. So 7 crit, 5 draw, 4 heal. Yes, I know, these are a mix of heals. I was trying to get 2 more of her, but can't find them, and I don't want to take her out of my other Kagura deck. So, yep, 7 crit, 5 draw, 4 heal. Kind of standard in a Dauntless Dry Focus build, just because that 1 extra draw can really help you just easily pay for your Break Rights cost. Now, that's pretty much the deck for you guys. Now, one thing I actually forgot to explain earlier, sorry about that, is a little bit is about the other ability for Dominant Dragon, which of course is that plus 3k power he gains. Just one thing you just got to remember that I will always recommend is just when calculating the numbers in terms of guarding him, just kind of, the magic number is 8k, so you want to just make sure you guard 8k above his power minimum. So an example would be, like, let's say he's 11k base, and you're, 11k base versus your opponent's versus 11k base. So let's say that you're defending against him. So let's say he's attacking, he's boosting with, let's say a 7k. So it's going to be 18. Let's make sure you guys can see that. Yep. So it's 18k versus your 11k. Now, in normal circumstances, you can easily guard with, 15k, 1,000 worth of shield, making 26,000 total, making it 2 to pass. But with the exception now with Dominant Dragon, when he drive checks that grade 1 or higher Kagura, he gets that plus 3. So let's say he drive checks a, Heat Nail, whatever. So he gains plus 3, so his total now becomes 21. So now all he has to do is hit a trigger and it passes. So as you see here, I guarded and it was an 8k 1,000 difference, but essentially in normal circumstances it's 2 to pass, but you got to keep in mind that it technically is 1 to pass if they have that skill active. So I know it's something that a lot of people get tripped up about and can really confuse players, but just magic number is 8k. If you're really trying to guard him for 2 to pass, since you obviously don't have a perfect guard, you have to make sure you guard over 8,000 above his base power compared to yours. So you just gotta make sure your differences is above 8,000. So try to go for 9,000 or above. So that's just one thing just to kind of mention, so you guys have a much easier time dealing with them. So because I know I definitely got a lot of questions about that. So yeah. So there you have it, guys. That is my deck for you all. Hope you guys enjoyed that. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below with any questions and concerns and such. And as always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on this video. Always appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you hadn't. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day. See you guys.